September 2025 was a huge month for indie games. While a lot of people were excited for the release of Hollow Knight Silksong, I was among the group that was eagerly looking forward to the 1.0 launch of Hades 2, the sequel to the hit roguelike title from Supergiant Games. I've already released 3 videos on Hades 2 during its early access period, and while those were full of spoilers for each of the major updates, this review is a relatively spoiler free look at the entire game, or at least most of the game, because there's simply so much to discover and unlock even after the main story has ended that I'm sure I've missed something interesting. The short version of this review is that Hades 2 is simply a showcase of a studio that has reached or is very close to its peak. Every single department has outdone itself compared to the studio's previous games, and this title is a joy to pick up and play. With its intricate gameplay systems, amazing dialogue and music, and a stunning art style, the only problem with Hades 2 that I could think of is that it can quickly become a time sink if you're not careful. There's also another issue I've had with the game ever since it was announced, and it's something I've complained about in every video about the game. So let me repeat it one last time. I wish this game did not exist, and that Supergiant Games had worked on another original title like they've been doing for over a decade. Hades 2 is the first sequel they've made, and while it's brilliant, it's also a bit too similar to the first game and makes me wonder what kind of game we have missed due to the developers choosing to spend 4 years working on this sequel. Alright, that was probably the only negative thing I had to say about the game, and it doesn't have anything to do with the game itself. If you're in the mood for a lengthier review where I keep singing praises about the game, then let's dive in. The only spoilers shown here will be the first bosses from each of the 2 major areas, as well as general gameplay from some of the biomes. Proceed with caution.
Walk in the woods.
Hades 2 is set a few years after the events of the first game. The protagonist this time is Melinoe, who is the younger sister of Zagreus, the previous lead. While Zag's mission was to escape the underworld, Melinoe is trying to break into the underworld, which has been captured by their grandfather, Kronos, the Titan of Time. That's already a nice change from the previous game, but it doesn't stop there. Melinoe also has a separate mission to climb up to Mount Olympus, which is being attacked by Kronos' army. So each time you start a run, you get to choose whether you want to go up to Mount Olympus or go down into Tartarus. You can only go to one place each night, and each path offers different resources and advances the story in different ways. Staying true to the roguelike formula, the story is structured around failing and learning from your mistakes, and then replaying the same levels over and over again, discovering new story snippets each time. The Greek gods are back, and each of them help you along the way through a random set of boons, which are power-ups to help you on your run. The procedurally generated maps and the random boons ensure that no 2 runs are exactly alike, although you will eventually learn how to pick an efficient list of boons for the best results. This story requires you to be patient because unlocking the true ending requires you to fight Kronos and another cool boss at the top of Mount Olympus multiple times. For those who stick with it though, there's a really interesting conclusion at the end. The true strength of the story, however, lies in the many conversations that Melinoe has with the dozens of characters along the way, including the bosses that she keeps fighting over and over again. These are really well written, and similar to the first game, the characters often comment on your most recent performance, making each conversation feel fresh and unique. If you're not a fan of roguelike games, Hades 2 might be the game that can change your mind. It offers players many ways in which to customize and improve their gameplay experience. To begin with, there are multiple weapons to choose from, each with their own set of pros and cons. Then each weapon has different aspects which can make them more powerful or change how they work entirely. Beyond that, there are magical cards that can give you power-ups through your runs. There are items known as keepsakes which give you even more powers, and you can rank these up by playing the game with one of these items equipped, which will then make them more powerful. There's also a farming mini game which is directly tied into your progression since you require ingredients to prepare spells that could alter your runs. I'm speeding through all these features because explaining all of them in detail would make this video 30 minutes long. But as you can already see, the more time you invest in the game, the more powerful you become and the easier your future runs get, which is of course the core of the roguelike formula. The actual gameplay is quite fun. You can only pick your weapon at the start of the run, but the boons you get from the gods are random. Based on which god gives you boons, you can change your attack, special attack, dash attack, and a magical move called an omega attack. Later, you can upgrade each of these boons to become more powerful and maybe change once more in the middle of your run. Long story short, even though you're playing the same levels over and over, it almost always feels fresh. And once you play enough of the game, you get into a nice rhythm that lets you demolish everything with ease while listening to some great music and discovering new story snippets. There's also a whole endgame component to the game which lets you challenge your mastery by adding modifiers to each run. It's quite insane. With a hand-painted art style full of rich details, Hades 2 very much looks like a premium game from a studio that has perfected its style over a decade. While there may not be any traditional cutscenes, the regular interactions between the characters are as beautiful as most pre-rendered cutscenes. The character portraits are all incredibly beautiful, and the hardcore community has already had some intense debates over some of the portraits since early access launched last year. In terms of performance, I don't think I've seen anyone mention any major issues with the game. In my own case, the game runs quite well on my now 6-year-old PC. It's also a time-limited Switch exclusive and is actually the perfect game to play while on the move. Whether you played the first game or not, Hades 2 offers a thrilling roguelike experience at a standard that very few other games can match. With some really strong gameplay systems and an excellent story, this game will keep you occupied for more than 100 hours and maybe even more if you're brave enough to master its endgame challenges. Thanks for watching.